The mess hall of the Galactic Defense Station Epsilon 7 buzzed with the usual evening chatter. Commander Jothic of the Krathari Empire sat among his fellow officers, his crimson carapace gleaming under the artificial lights. Around the table, representatives from a dozen species shared their meal: the insectoid Vrix, the towering Goliaths, the amphibious Queller. But the conversation had turned, as it often did, to the newest members of the Galactic Council: humanity. "Did you hear what the human soldier told me yesterday?" Lieutenant Vorak chittered, his mandibles clicking in amusement. "He said his ancestors believed in gods who threw lightning bolts from the sky." Laughter rippled through the group. Captain Thelnora, her blue scales shimmering, added her own contribution. "One of them told me about a warrior who gained strength from his hair. His hair. They actually wrote it down and call it history." "Primitive mythology," Jothic said, shaking his head. "It's embarrassing that a species so technologically backward was admitted to the council. What's next? Believing their planet is carried on the back of a giant turtle?" The mockery continued, each officer sharing increasingly absurd human myths they had encountered. Tales of men who could fly, women who commanded the sea, warriors who single-handedly defeated armies. To species who had evolved beyond superstition millennia ago, it seemed laughable that humans still clung to such fantasies. "They're a curious species," came a gravelly voice from the corner of the room. The table fell silent. General Karnath, the legendary Varkos commander, rarely spoke in social settings. His scarred, stone-like exterior bore the marks of countless battles. He had served in the Galactic Defense Force for 3 standard centuries, and was considered one of the most decorated warriors in known space. "Curious, sir?" Vorak asked cautiously. Karnath stood, his massive frame casting a shadow across the table. "Have any of you actually fought alongside humans?" The officers exchanged glances. Most of their contact with humanity had been limited to diplomatic functions and training exercises. Jothic straightened his posture. "With respect, General, their combat record is unremarkable. They've only participated in minor skirmishes since joining the council." "Minor skirmishes," Karnath repeated, something like amusement in his tone. "Let me tell you about a minor skirmish." He moved to the center of the room, commanding everyone's attention. 73 cycles ago, before humanity joined the council, I was part of a reconnaissance team investigating a distress signal near the Outer Rim. We found a human colony under siege by Krell raiders. The room had gone completely silent. The Krell were legendary in their brutality, a species so violent they had been quarantined to their home system by council decree. "When we arrived," Karnath continued, "we expected to find nothing but corpses. The Krell had sent 3 warships. The human colony had no military presence, no planetary shields, no orbital defense platforms. Just farmers and miners. 6,000 civilians." "They were slaughtered?" Thelnora asked quietly. "No, Captain. They won." Karnath's words hung in the air like a grenade. "When we landed, we found 3 Krell warships crashed across the colony's perimeter. 200 Krell warriors dead. And the humans? They had lost 800 of their people, but they were still standing." Jothic leaned forward. "How is that possible? Civilians against Krell warriors?" "I asked their leader the same question," Karnath said. "A woman named Sarah Chen. Do you know what she told me?" She said, "General, my great-grandfather told me stories about a place called Thermopylae, where 300 men held off an army. My grandmother told me about a siege called Stalingrad, where a city refused to fall. My father told me about farmers who became Minutemen and fought the most powerful empire on Earth." Then she looked me in the eye and said, "We are human. We don't know how to quit." The general paused, letting his words sink in. "I watched the security footage from the battle. I saw a farmer, a man who grew crops for a living, charge a Krell warrior 3 times his size with nothing but a mining tool. I saw a teacher organize children into carrying ammunition to defenders. I saw a baker hold a corridor alone for 7 minutes against 5 Krell soldiers because behind her were the colony's wounded." "Myths," Karnath said, his voice dropping to barely above a whisper, "are not lies. They are instructions. Every human child grows up hearing stories of heroes who fought impossible odds. They hear about gods who challenged fate, warriors who never surrendered, ordinary people who did extraordinary things. And somewhere deep in their genetic memory, they believe it. They believe they can be those heroes. He turned to face Jothik directly. You mock their mythology, Commander. But I've fought beside 17 species across this galaxy. I've seen the bravest warriors of the Goliath Collective. I've watched Vrick's soldiers fight with perfect tactical precision. But I have never seen a species fight like humans fight when their backs are against the wall. The general moved toward the exit, then paused. Their myths tell them that a single person can change the course of history. That courage matters more than strength. That humans are capable of miracles. And the terrifying thing, the thing that should make every species in this galaxy grateful humans joined the council instead of conquering it, is this. They believe their myths, and when they believe hard enough, they make them true. Karnath left the mess hall in silence. Slowly, conversations resumed, but the mockery had drained from the room. Jothik stared at his half-finished meal, thinking about the human soldier he had dismissed earlier that day. The young man had worn a patch on his uniform, an image of a bird rising from flames. What was that symbol? He asked Vorak quietly. A phoenix, I think, the lieutenant replied. A creature from human mythology. It dies in fire and is reborn from its own ashes. Jothik nodded slowly, understanding dawning. The humans didn't keep their myths as entertainment or historical curiosities. They kept them as promises, reminders of what they could become when the universe demanded it. He made a mental note to never underestimate the species that taught its children to believe in impossible things. Because in his experience, the most dangerous warrior wasn't the one with the best weapons or the strongest armor. It was the one who genuinely believed they could win against any odds. It was the one who carried their myths into battle like weapons forged from pure will. The humans, he realized, had been doing that for thousands of years.